What was the reaction that you got from people, maybe even your husband or your friends or family, when you decided to let them know that you were going to do this?
We had some mixed opinions. My mom is like, "What are you doing?"
Ain't had too many options, we just did what we could. You know we came from the bottom, always knew that we would. Every day we keep grinding.
All right, so welcome back to Inspired by You podcast. Today I'm sitting down here with Vanessa. She is one of the owners of Willowbrook Farms, which is a Black and Hispanic owned farm out here in Cassopolis, Michigan. You started this with you all started this with no handouts, no sort of previous farming experience. How did you get involved in this field?
I think it kind of started off with wanting to get our kids out of the city and kind of bring them kind of back to the basics, get them in an environment where we had a little bit more control over some of the things that they're experiencing, seeing, and being around. And so we started with just, 4 goats kind of playing around, and then it just kind of expanded, and now we have over 50 goats or so, and we use them for multiple practices. And we just kind of got started with just research, YouTube, podcasts, people, other farmers, and it just kind of developed into what it is today.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's amazing. What helped you, I guess, feel like I can do this? Because, I know you said the podcast, the YouTube, like you did all this research, but what was, I guess, kind of the thing that was like, okay, I can do this. Like we can do this.
Well, I think knowing that I'm not the first one to do it and to do it from scratch, that helps. I think watching some of the other farmers that are out here, especially African-American farmers and Hispanic farmers that are out here doing it. It's not just me. There's other farmers around our country that are doing it, and watching them and seeing that they're out here inspired me to just want to be out here and try it myself. I usually am a kind of like a go-getter. If somebody else can do it, I'm sure I can do it, and sometimes maybe better. So that's kind of like my goal.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
So the name of my podcast is Inspired by You podcast. And the idea behind it is that I feel like we either kind of see somebody doing what we want to do and then we're inspired by them, or we don't, and we kind of become that for the next generation.
Yeah.
So you feel like there were people that you were able to look up to and be like, they're doing this. I feel like, I can do that too.
I can't say that I saw people directly doing what I'm doing. But I know I have something to give to the world. And so I think that I can inspire other people. And I've done it with my past careers in education. And I do think by kind of that background has helped me to feel like I think I can inspire people to want to be better, or want to see that there's more out of life than just playing sports or even being a doctor. Some people aren't meant or don't want to go to school. You don't necessarily have to go to school to be a farmer. You just need some strength, some patience, and some understanding, and the will to want to learn. And so there's kids out here that need a different avenue, and I think this is a good avenue for them to take.
Yeah, definitely. Kudos to you guys for inspiring those individuals to take a different path too.
Yeah.
How long do you feel like the process has been, kind of from when you first started researching to like now?
Well, really, we started last year. We got a few animals and tried them out, see what worked, see what didn't. So it's just only been, about a year in the making, just learning. Wow. I think about creating my Facebook page, and next month, I think it'll be a year since I created a Willowbrook Farm Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And we have, over 1,000 followers at this point, and people are following our story and sharing it amongst the community. And we're getting out there.
Definitely. That's how I found out about it. I just saw people sharing it, and I was like, man, that's like such a dope story. I want to help get this out there. Was this anything like what you thought it would be, or do you feel like it was different?
I'll be honest. When you go into something, sometimes you don't really know what you're prepared for. I didn't realize how pesky goats can be sometimes. They get out, they ruin, and they destroy. But they also bring something that you can't find from anything else. Like they're very cool animals. They're calming. They're helpful. They clean up stuff for us. Sometimes clean up the things that we don't want them to clean up. But they have been a great asset to our business plan here, with targeted grazing and going around to different places and helping people clean up some of the stuff they can't get to. Mm-hmm. Those goats have really done an awesome job for our farm and for our community.
Nice. I was going to ask, what are, I guess, some of the other business opportunities besides just kind of selling food that are available to you all as farmers?
Well, I think one of the biggest thing is a lot of people don't have any kind of farming experience as far as what is it like to be on a farm? What is it like to be a part of a farm? A lot of people that I get here that come for farm tours are like, oh, we've never been able to hold a pig before, or touch a pig, or know what it feels like, or we've never been able to be around goats. And I let people get in, and so they get to understand that they're animals, that are kind, you respect them, and they respect you, depending on the animal. But for the most part, I think we offer quite a few things besides just selling meat. You know, we offer experiences to people that don't get to experience. We offer education to kids and adults that don't get to have that experience unless they know a farmer. And a lot of farms, they're busy. Like they don't always want to necessarily open up their farms to the community because of their schedules, because of liability reasons. But we think that there's so much more to give that people really need to know what farming is like, what it encompasses, and our kids need to know what it is. They need to know where their food comes from. They need to know how it gets to their table. It just doesn't magically appear. There's someone working late nights, long hours to make sure that you have food to eat.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
What are, I guess, some of the benefits of learning to kind of grow your own food and live off the land?
So we all know of COVID, where some things were sparse at times and everybody was scared. I think if we ever have one of those moments again, I don't have to be so scared. Mm-hmm. I know that I'm going to have a meal to eat and maybe help others have a meal to eat. The benefits of learning is knowing where your food comes from. There's a lot of things that are in these local grocery stores that are being pumped into this food, and it's not good for you. There's cancer causing things. There's all different types of things. I think people are so used to cheap food that because it's what is affordable at the time, that they don't realize the benefits of having healthy food and how that can change your trajectory of your life. And so there's multiple benefits of eating farm fresh food and being on a farm and learning all about it.
Nice. What are maybe some myths about organic food or organic farming that you've learned to not be true in your journey?
Well, one recently, I guess not recently, but one that I've learned about is if you go to your grocery store and, for example, it's Thanksgiving time, if you look at a turkey, you'll look on a turkey and it'll say, in really, really, really fine print, it'll tell you that, no, we don't, well, big print, it'll say, no, we don't use antibiotics. But if you really look at that, you'll see that in fine print, it says we use antibiotics if necessary. So any
Wow.
farmer can say that, oh, well, we had to use antibiotics because it was necessary. Sometimes it says organic on the package. That doesn't mean that these animals are being raised out in pastures where they have fresh air and bugs and all different things to eat that are nutritious for them. It doesn't mean that. It's up to them to decide, well, maybe our animals are safer in here for the night. It's up to their judgment. When you go to a farm like myself or anybody else's in this area, there's some great farmers in this area that do really respect the idea of pasture-raised, non-GMO, and antibiotic-free. You will see their animals outside in the open air, getting fresh air and sun, and it's just a better animal, a healthier animal. So I think sometimes we think organic, and it's amazing, but we really need to look at what organic really means. So you need to really know who your farmer is my suggestion.
Nice. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the benefits of shopping local?
At any time, people can come into my farm store. My number is written on the wall. Like, if you need something, come get me. I think convenience is super nice for shopping local. I think you get to know the person that you meet and know that who's making your food. I have several people that just come by like, Vanessa, can I drop off some fruits and vegetables to your animal? And I'll walk them out there and we feed them. It's experiences, it's relationship building. I think when you shop with someone local, you know that you're putting that money back into your local community instead of this big Walmart or big Costco or these places that care nothing about you. A farmer only survives off of its community. If the community doesn't support the farmer, then there's no more farmers, no more small local farmers. You have these big businesses, but the people that really do care, in my opinion, are those small local farmers that really put their time, their energy, and effort into everything that they do.
Well, then it's nice too, because like you said, the farmer only survives off their community, but then the community can kind of survive off the farmer as well. So like you give some, you take some.
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
I've heard that the quote too about, when you shop local, you're not funding some CEO's, $1 million fund. You're like buying dance class shoes for, or putting, food on the table for a family, which is always, that just sounds a little bit better and it makes you feel a little bit better knowing that, it's going to another local family like your own.
Mm-hmm. I think there's, people people know that it's more expensive to buy from a small farmer, but the benefits outweigh the cost of the product, in my opinion. There's a lot of good things that you can get from small local businesses that you cannot get at Walmart. Those people use their hands and foot and labor to make sure that you have what you need on your table, or what they're providing to you. Definitely.
What's it been like raising kids, actual kids, not the goats, on a farm?
Well, I have a 16-year-old that's going to be 17 next month, a 12-year-old and a 5-year-old. My 5-year-old came here, last year, so he was 4. He's excited about everything that happens. He's like, Mom, put me on the tractor. Mom, push the tractor bucket up. He's just out there explaining everything to me like he knows what he's doing. So I just let him, be the big farmer. My middle child, when you're teenagers, it's a little tough. They're learning. They're like, wait, you took us from our little posh home in the city and you moved us out here. So it's been an experience for them. But as I look at them every day, I see some of that work ethic. Now, when I say, hey, I need you to go give 4 buckets of feed to the pigs, like, okay, used to be like, oh my God, do I have to do this? And now it's like, okay, I'll go do it. As long as I get it done, it's done. And then Mom will stop asking me for things. But sometimes I can go give the feed to the pigs, but I choose to make them do it because there's a lot of kids that they don't even know how to open up the feed bin. My kids know how to open it up. If there's an issue, they can fix it. So I'm teaching them practical skills that once they leave my home, they know how to do things when they get out in this environment. And it can be a rough world. So they got to figure out things.
Definitely. It builds character.
Mm-hmm. Definitely right.
What's the biggest lesson you feel like you've learned so far?
This isn't easy. So learning to be patient with the process, learning to research as much as you can and never feel like you know because you don't know. There's somebody out here that knows and can help you, and finding those people that really do want to help you, because there's some people that really don't want to help you. So finding those good people that are wholeheartedly invested into you are the people you need to latch onto.
Nice. I feel like that lesson can go for almost anything, not even just farming.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you all have kind of this self-service store here, and it runs on the honor system. Why did you go that route?
I can't sit in a store all day. I have things that I have to do on this farm, and if I don't do them, it won't get done. And so I have to put my faith in humanity and faith in people that they'll do the right thing. They see what I do every day. If they follow my Facebook page or if they drive past, they'll see me outside. I can't watch everybody, so I have to hope and pray that people will do the right thing. And so far, so good. They've done the right thing. And sometimes people even leave tips and say, "Here's a little extra to help on the farm." Yeah.
So that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you need a green thumb or be good with animals to kind of work on a farm or to be a farmer?
I don't think so. I just think you need to know the right people that could help you. For example, I tried to put outside, we were trying to put the railings on the porch, and I'm like, I'm gonna try this. It didn't work out. I'm like, someone's gonna fall off here and die. And so I called my neighbor and I said, I can't really do this. Can you come help me out? And he's a carpenter, kind of. And he's like, I'll come help you. And he came over and he fixed it. And him and his wife did it. There's some things. One time we couldn't catch a pig. And there's a farmer down the street. His name is Tom Bennett. And he is a veteran. And he's like an actual veteran, but also a veteran in farming. And he's like, do you want me to come help you get it? I'm like, please. There was actually 4 of them. And he's like, I'll come help you. He stayed over here for about an hour and a half helping us catch these pigs. Wow. But he showed me how to do it at the same time. So then I didn't have to know. I just need to know someone that could help me, reaching out and using your resources. I didn't know how to put a strap on the trailer the other day. My neighbor owns an oil field next to us, like across the street. And I said, I can't put these straps on. He's like, just need patience. I'll help you. That's how you get things done. If you don't know something, you ask somebody and they'll tell you. Most people are kind. There's a few people out here that are not, but most people are kind. So
that's perfect. What do you think is sort of the benefit of somebody showing you how to do something rather than just telling you? Like that way you can do it, the next time.
Because I don't have to go to them again. You know what I mean? Like they have things that they have to do. I learned how to do it, and it helps me for future projects on our farm. So then now I know I can go anywhere and pick up something by myself. A lot of times my husband's not here to help me. He's working his day job. And so a lot of things I'm like, okay, I got to go pick up the feed. I got to go pick up whatever is there. I have to attach the trailer. I can't wait for my husband to get home to help me put the trailer together. Sometimes I'm teaching him how to do it. So yeah, you just, I don't know, the benefit is just learning yourself, being strong enough and believe in yourself enough that you can do it. So, yeah.
What was the reaction that you got from people, maybe even your husband or your friends or family, when you decided to let them know that you were going to do this?
We had some mixed opinions. My mom is like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just trying something new. I'd call my brothers, because my brothers own demolition companies and they have some familiarity with like trucks and tractors and all that stuff that I don't. Well, I'm starting to learn. And so I bought a tractor and I put a seeder on the back of it to plant some seed. And I FaceTime myself and I'm like, I'm a farmer. And I scream in the phone and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm a farmer. And they're like, no, you're not. And so like, it's just my family, they're very supportive. They're watching me as I grow. They're encouraging. At first they were like, what are you doing? But now they're like, okay, we'll take your farm fresh, chicken.
Oh, yeah. Now you want some chicken.
Now you want to eat it. My mother and father-in-law are used to kind of the naturalistic approach because they're from the Dominican Republic and things are different from there. So they're used to this type of lifestyle in regards to the food, not necessarily the process, but the food. And so they've been very respectful, very helpful, and very understanding through this process. So
Nice.
My friends, on the other hand, are like, okay, Vanessa.
Let me just get some eggs.
Yeah, give me some eggs. Yes, exactly. But they are still very encouraging and very supportive.
Nice.
So,
what was, I guess, life like for you growing up? Did you grow up in the city, out in the country?
No, I grew up in the country. We grew up around farms, but not on a farm. So we could literally walk out our door and there'd be cows there, but we never had any contact with them unless they got out. And at that point, we didn't really know what to do. So sometimes the cows and things would get out, but besides that, my dad was a man that would help or rescue or find anything that he could. Like if there was something that needed a home, he's the one that brought it in. If you saw a dog on the side of the road, he's the one that picked it up and brought it home. So, and my mother would be the one that would just let us have these random animals too. She never said no. She always said okay. Was always a nurturer. Yeah, but I think about it now, like she was really a nurturer. Like she just allowed us to have these things. Most families would be like, no, like go take that to the shelter. No, but she would let us have it. And so had 8 brothers and sisters. We grew up in the middle of nowhere on around cornfields. And we lived pretty frugal, to say the least. And but my parents made sure that we had core values, core ethics, making sure that we respected everybody. We grew up in a town where there's a lot of racism, but my father and my mother said, you be who you are. You don't respond to that because that's not who you are. And so we made some great friends who are not that way. And we grew up in a loving home. I don't have anything negative to say about my household. It was just a home of love. My parents just worked real hard to make sure that we had what we needed.
Nice.
So, yeah.
How do you feel like all of that, from the racism to growing up in the country to your dad kind of being this rescuer and nurturer of animals, how do you feel like all of that has played into the journey that you're on now?
I think that really learning to love and respect people has been my foundation of everything that I've ever done in my life, I think. And I think it came from my mother and father teaching us those just basic things of loving thy neighbor, making sure you respect people. And I think growing up in the way that I did has taught me to give people grace, number one, because not everybody does everything right the first or the second or the third time. So giving people grace, learning to help others. Sometimes that means sacrificing some of your time and things that you really don't want to do, but that person needs you. So I think that's how my childhood has helped me to develop into this person. And I think that's how I've been able to be successful in a lot of my ventures, is because I treat people kind and I want people to treat me kind.
And it seems like with this venture, you're kind of, I guess, steering your kids in the same way and trying to raise them up with love and make sure that they have kind of the whole toolkit to go towards success.
Yeah, I think so. I hope that they look back and say, my mother and my stepdad tried the best they could to make sure that we respected and loved people. So
nice. One last question. What did you want to be when you were younger?
I don't really know. You know, I think back, like I loved basketball. I was a basketball player, avid basketball player. I enjoyed it, and I thought, oh, I'm going to be in the WNBA someday, and that's just not the route that God wanted me on. He said, oh, you're going to have a baby at 19, and you're going to be fine. And so I did, and when I was younger, I don't know. I just don't think I really had any other dreams besides being a basketball player. And here I am, a farmer.
A farmer? There's been like an NFL player or something that left the NFL like in his prime and was like, I'm going to go be a farmer. And he's a farmer now too. I can't remember his name, but yeah that's a story too. So you never know. Maybe you'd have got to the WNBA and be like, I think I still want to be a farmer.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just, you know, you got to find what you enjoy in this life. And you better take advantage of it while you have it, because life is short. So,
yeah. I too had a kid fairly young, 2021, and kind of, you know, I guess didn't let that lead me astray. How do you feel like that, I guess, influenced your life?
You know, it can go either way. When you have a child, you can be one way or you can be the other. You can be in the middle, I guess. But when I had my daughter, I think she really made me say, okay, I'm responsible for someone else besides me. That means I need to kick it in gear. So I never stopped going to school. I didn't use that as an excuse. I no longer had a reason not to finish anything that I wanted to do. So she was my driving force in making sure that I continued my education. Even when I was playing basketball with her, she'd come and sit at the practices with me. She was just always there. She was just always my little tag along. So I think her being a responsibility for me made me say, okay, I got to keep it together. And I got to show her what it's like to live right.
Yeah. I love what you said too, because it plays into like one of my favorite quotes, which is like, you can either make it your excuse or you can make it like a part of your life story. And so I think that's really awesome that you like took that and used her kind of as your motivation.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say to the podcast, to the people, anything you feel like I missed that you want people to know?
I just
Where
think
can people find you guys online too?
Yeah. Number one, you know, follow your dreams. If you sit there and say, oh, I wish I could do this, you can keep wishing, but you actually got to put some effort behind that wish. You know, you actually got to do something about it. Just keep going. That would be my number one thing. And then if you want to follow us on Facebook, you can look up Willowbrook Farms, Michigan, or follow our website, willowbrookmi.com, or find my number and call me if you have any questions.
And stop by the farm store.
Yeah, stop by the farm store. Yeah.